Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about reconciliation. So, reconciliation happens a year after you've been in Naples. So when you first arrived in Naples, HR asked you, okay, so how much do you think you're going to need to pay your electricity bills and perhaps gas if you have gas, right? Or if you have a wooden stove, right? Money for your wood pellets, etc., right? And you have to guesstimate because you've never been here. Most of you have never been to Naples. You don't know how much these bills are going to cost. So you might tell HR, okay, I think I'm going to need $500 a month for my electricity bill and maybe $200 a month for wooden pellets or, whatever. Because you're not paying for water. When you come to NSA Naples and you live off base, you do not pay for water. You will pay for internet, but the government will not reimburse you for that. That has to come out of your own pockets. They don't pay for your internet. At least they're not paying for mine. So they don't pay for your internet. They'll only pay for gas and electricity in your home. Heating, right? Heating. So you have to guess because you don't know. So you might tell them, okay, I need 400 a month, 400 euros a month. Because here's the thing. So you're being paid in American dollars, but all your bills are in euros. And for the most part, the euro is always heavier than the dollar. Only once was it 1-to-1. And I think maybe for a few weeks the dollar was heavier, but that was like last summer or the summer before. So the euro is heavier than the dollar, meaning that $1 equals maybe like 1.05 euros. Do you get it? But when you get into the thousands, it gets to more than that. So let's say you told housing and HR that you needed $100 per month. I'm just doing this easy because I don't know how many of you guys are mathematicians. I'm a mathematician, so I like the numbers, but some of you may not like the numbers. So I'm gonna make this easy for you, right? How easy should I make this? Okay, let's just make this very easy. Let's tell them you say, hey, I need $2 a month for all my bills. They're gonna give you $2 a month, right? You have a year. So 2 times 12 is 24. Housing HR has given you $24, okay, in a year to pay your bills. 24. Fine. Now it's time to reconciliate. Okay? And you're showing them the bills and how much the bills really cost. You realize that your bills only cost $1 a month. This means that in the whole year, 1 times 12, your bills came out to $12, not 24. So how much did the government overpay you by? They gave you $24. When the year went by, you kept all your bills. And you saw that at the end of the year, you only used $12. But the government gave you 24. This is what we call an overpayment. So you're doing your reconciliation. Reconciliation means you're looking at all the bills you paid because you're going to have a copy. The landlord will give you a copy, or you ask the landlord for a copy. You're going to have all the bills and how much you truly, truly paid, okay? And you're going to show HR, or I can't remember if it's HR housing. It's probably HR. Yes, HR. There's a worksheet. This is how much I paid for my electricity in January, because the electricity bills, I want to say, come every 2 months. And the internet, they don't reimburse you for that. That's coming out of your own pocket, unless things have changed. But they never changed it for me. I'm paying for my internet. So now you're telling HR, this is how much I paid in my bills. Here's the receipt. Here's the electricity bill. $1, $1, $1. At the end of the year, you send this to HR. Now people will tell you you can reconciliate at the end of 5 years or at the end of 3 years. Don't do that. That's bad advice. Do your reconciliation at the end of your first year in Naples. You understand? Good. So now you give this information to HR. HR is now going to adapt how much money they give you for your utilities. You guessed the first year and said I needed 24. But your receipts showed that you only needed 12. So going forward, HR is only going to give you $12 for the whole year. Okay? Now, if something changes, you're always free to go back to HR with receipts and say, hey, this is wrong. The bills have gone up. You're not giving me enough. And they can do another reconciliation. You can do a reconciliation every year. I did a reconciliation twice. But remember, do not reconciliate at the end of your term, at the end of 3 years. No. Let me finish what I'm saying. So, you did your reconciliation. HR says you only need $12 a year. They're going to give you $12 a year, right? Number one. Now, also, HR has overpaid you by $12. You have to give this money back to the government, okay? Whatever they overpaid you, it's called an overpayment. You have to give this money back. When you go into My Pay on the left, there's going to be something called like a debt letter. I think it's under debt letter. And for some reason, they divide them up. Why? I don't know. I had three. They divided mine up into 3 letters. Why? I don't know. And the crazy thing is, you'll never know what exchange rate they're using. HR will try and show you. It's not going to make sense to you. Trust me, it's not. Because you're like, wait a minute. You gave me this much money, but why are you using this exchange rate? Your calculations will never match what HR has. Never. Don't even try. You can try, but it's not going to match. Don't be frustrated, because I'm telling you right now, it's not going to match. Don't be frustrated. You remember, oh, Amy told me that it wasn't going to make sense. So I'm telling you, it's not going to make sense. So the debt letter will say that you owe $12. But because the letter won't make sense, the letter will probably say you owe like $13 or $14, right? Because remember, we don't know what exchange rate they're using. Anyways, so the debt letter is going to say that you owe $12 and that you need to write a check to somebody, blah, 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 blah. Overpayment, they overpaid you, right? And you write the check and send it to whoever it has to go to. It's not somebody at Naples, it's like America somewhere. I think you can also pay online, okay? And that's how reconciliations work. Now, let me tell you about my reconciliation. I had never been to Naples. I didn't know how much it was going to cost. So I told them I needed a certain amount. I can't remember how much I said I needed, but I gave a certain amount, okay? When the year went by, I did my reconciliation. Actually, I ended up reconciliating after like 2 years because of COVID. So many things happened during the COVID year, right? Anyways, but by the time I did my reconciliation, the government found that that they had overpaid me by roughly $13,000. That's right. 13,000. And you might be sitting there saying, what? Amy, you owe the government $13,000? Yeah, they had given me that much extra. But is it a big deal? No, it's not. You know why? Because if they're overpaying me, that money's sitting in my bank account, right? If I told the government I needed $600 for utilities, but it only cost me $200, whatever extra they gave me, it's sitting in my bank account. So when I saw these debt letters and realized that they had overpaid me roughly $13,000, it wasn't a big deal. For some reason, it was like in 3 separate letters. So I think one letter was like $3,000, the other letter was like $5,000, and then I guess the other letter was like, where am I? Maybe another $5,000. But it was roughly $13,000 that I had to pay back. Again, if the government is overpaying you, the money should be in your accounts. It shouldn't be a big deal to just write the check and give them their money back, okay? And so that is how reconciliations work, okay? You're basically reconciling your files to show, okay, I estimated how much money I was going to need. But the reconciliation is when you're dealing with the facts. This is how much my bills truly cost me in the year. Electricity, gas, you might have a bumble up that needs to be filled up, right? Those are the main things. Maybe wood pellets, but those are the main things, the factual costs of what housing and HR is willing to cover regarding your housing expenses. And that's the reconciliation. They'll look at, oh, did we give you too much or too little? If they gave you too little, I'm sure they'll add more. But if they gave you too much, then they're going to readjust how much they give you. And then you're also going to get a debt letter in My Pay stating that the government has overpaid you by this much and that you need to pay them back. That's it.